Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be showing you how to install cabinet handles onto your cabinets, onto the cabinet doors and the drawers. So let's go ahead and get started. So to get started, you want to pick out what kind of handles you're going to get, obviously, and order them so you have enough for each door and drawer so you can do it all at once. Now there's two basic kinds of handles. You have your two prong, kind of like this, where you're going to have two screws and you have to drill two holes, or a single hole. Luckily on most cabinets, if you're just doing a single, it already has a pre-drilled hole here. So really all you have to do is drill through here to get your hole here, and it's going to be in the right spot for you. But I have two, so it takes a little more work to do that. So what I'm going to, next you need to decide, there's a couple different styles of how you put handles on if you're putting a two. Some it's to put it up higher. See how I have different drawer sizes here? What I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to center it on each drawer no matter the size. Instead of putting them the same distance from the top, that can be a style depending upon what you want. I'm putting them all centered on that. So your next step, if you have two screws that you need to put in for your handles, is you need to measure both the length and the width of your drawer. I'm starting with the drawers. And then what you're trying to do is you're trying to find the center. So, mine measured 15 3/4, so you cut that in half, which gives you 7, or it was 15.5, so it gives you 7 3/4 inches. And then I measured the width, and that was 4.5, which would give me 2 1/4 inches. But you need to account, that would put you in the very center of where your handle is going. So now you need to take half of this. So you need to measure from eye hole here to eye hole. And for me that was 3 3/4 inches. So you cut that in half, gives you 1 7/8 inches. So then I just took that 7 3/4, from here, and I minus the 1 7/8. And that gives me the very center for the lengthwise, or not the very center, but where I need to drill for the lengthwise. So I put a little dot. You can, let's see. There we go. There it is, if I can get it to focus. Anyways, there's a dot right there. And then just above that, what I did was I just put the center, remember, is 2 1/4. So then I put a dot just directly above it. You can't really get it to focus. There we go, finally focused. So anyways, I'm going to drill my first hole there. It's going to be a pilot hole for the screw to go through. Okay, so a couple of tips for when you're drilling through. The first one, I did a couple of things that weren't good for it. You can see I pushed too far. You see that ring around it? That's from pushing the drill all the way through, and then that tip there slamming into it. So you don't do that. Drill through slow. So that when you do get through, it doesn't punch through like I did. So something to check when you are drilling is that my screws actually aren't long enough. So if you look from this side, see if I'm only drilling through here, the screw is long enough. However, since I'm drilling through all of this, it's not long enough. It's going to be long enough for my doors, because so you can see it's gonna have enough length there to go through. So you just need to check for that. So I'm gonna need to go to my local hardware store. I'll just take the handle with me. I'll measure how long these screws need to be, and then I'll buy the proper amount for all my drawers here that I'm putting handles on. So something else when you're picking out your drill bit to use, what you're gonna do, so basically you take the drill bit. This screw isn't screwing into the wood, it's screwing into the handle. So the drill bit can actually be slightly larger than the screw. However, you see the lip there, it has to be able to catch. So it can't be bigger than that, so that it has something to catch on the inside of the drawer. Okay, so as you're drilling through, make sure that you're drilling straight back, not at an angle in any way. So once you have the right depth, make sure, like I said, that those match up. You might have to go to your local hardware store. If you do, make sure you take the old screws and a knob so that you can get the proper screw to match. So what I'm doing is I'm basically tightening one side in. I haven't drilled the next yet, but what I did is, since I have this centered on where I want it in the drawer, I'm just going to take a level and put it on here because mine is flat enough to, and then I'm going to find where it's level, and then I'll mark this left side so that I can drill on that side. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to put the handles on to your cabinet doors instead of your drawers. So when you're all done, you want to make sure, I guess I didn't mention, when you're all done with the drawers, you want to make sure that they all line up properly and they all look well, and that they're all centered how you want them. Unfortunately, if you drill that hole wrong, well, then you'd have to get a whole new plate or a face plate for this, so make sure that you drill that properly. So anyways, for these, two-piece here that you need to drill in, that's kind of typical on where you'd want it. It's all up to your preference. What I did was I just did a straight line across. You can kind of see it there with a square. Just took the square, put it on there, marked a line because I wanted to put the very top piece here, kind of directly on that, and then I centered it on this piece here. So kind of similar to the drawers, I'm putting this first piece in, and then I'm going to use a small level. You could either do that, or you could measure for that second one. That wouldn't be too bad, just so that it's perfectly on here straight. Because if your cabinet isn't level, well then this isn't going to be level either, and that's going to be true for your drawers as well. So just keep that in mind. So in a similar way to the drawers, you drill that first hole, put the first one in here, and then you're going to put this, be sure that when you're doing this you lift it up, otherwise you can scratch it as you scrape it along here. So have that first one loose, tight enough to hold it in place, but loose enough so that you can lift this up without bending anything. So anyways, you put this in, you mark it where you want it, the top and the bottom, so that you can drill your pilot hole there again. Again, what I did was you have to make sure that you have your cabinet exactly how you want it, and then you can put this and make sure that it's level this way, and then just move it accordingly, and then mark it, and then drill it, and put the screw in, and then check it to make sure that it's level when you're done.